Hi, welcome to this SQL tutorial video, and today we're going to look at writing an if statement in our SQL blocks. So an if statement in SQL, you don't use the word if. The keyword in SQL is the word case. So case is then followed by some sort of condition. So you say when, I'm going to use this ft sum and val column. So when ft sum and val equals 1, then what do you want me to do? I want you to return the word true. Else, I want you to return the word false, and a case statement finishes with the word end. So this is saying if ft sum of val is 1, then show true, otherwise false. And if I run that, we will see this value column here, where it's 1, you've got true, otherwise you've got false. Nice and simple. Begins with case, you've got a condition that begins with when, then, and then else. What do you want me to do if this isn't true? Return the word false, and it finishes with the word end. Now you can add as many kind of whens as you like to this. So let's say when it equals 1, then I want to return the word 1. And then I want to say, let's get rid of that. When ft sum and val equals 2, then I'm going to return the word 2. And then I can say when ft sum and val equals 3, then 3. And then I'll say else more. And again, I've got to finish with the word end. And if I run that, we should now see 3. Where it's not 1, 2, or 3, you get the word more. So you can see how that's working there. So you can do this as many times as you like. So there are a few kind of rules to this. So the kind of one of the rules is that whatever it's returning here, these bits here have got to be of the same data type. So these are strings. They've got surrounded by single quotes. If I change this to be the number 1 and then these to be 3 words, and I try and run that, it's going to fail, and it's going to say, hold on, you've got a varchar in there and that doesn't match the int. So it's true, we've got an integer as one of our responses, and we've got varchar as the other responses. So I need to put that back to 1, and it will run. I can make all of these make all of these numbers if I want to. As long as all the data types are the same, it will be happy. So if I run that, you'll see we've got 1s that are 1s, 3 that are 3s, but anything that's greater than a 3 returns 4. Now, what we're doing here is we're saying when ft sum of val equals, ft sum of val equals. So because we're doing the same, we're looking at the same column and we're using the same kind of operator here, we can write our SQL a little bit more efficiently. So I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to say case, and instead of saying when, immediately I'm going to tell it the column I'm interested in. So case sum and val, and then I can say when 1, then 1, when 2, then 2, when 3, then 3, else more end. And if I run that, it does the same thing as what we were looking at before, except instead of repeating ft sum and equals every time, I've put it here, ft sum and val, and then I've just said what it equals after the when. And that works fine as long as you're using the same field and as long as you're using the equals. Now, if we go back to here and we begin and say, okay, when, we don't have to do equals. We can say when ft sum and val is less than 3, then say small. And then we can say when ft sum and val is between 3 and 5, then we can say medium. And then we can say when ft sum and val equals 6, we can say large, and then we say else XXL. And if we run that, we should now see the mediums, the smalls, the larges following this logic. So we don't need to put equals every time. We do, depending on how we write this. If we do case and then we give it a field immediately, then we're dealing with equals. But if you want to be a little bit cleverer, then after each when, you can be a lot more kind of specific, and you can mix up your columns as well. So we've got FT sum val here. If we say if it's greater than 5, then large, and then we can say when FT date greater than 01 Jan 2019, then we'll just put date else here. So if I run this, what this is now going to do is it's going to do the first check, and if it's less than 3, it's going to return small, and then it doesn't check anything else. If it isn't less than 3, it goes to here and it says, am I between 3 and 5? If I am between 3 and 5, I'm going to show medium and I'll go no further. If I'm not, if these two are both false, I'll go to here. If am I greater than 5, yes, I'll get to large. Otherwise, I'm going to get to here. So actually, looking at this, it's always going to be less than 3, between 3 and 5 or greater than 5. So it's not going to get to either of these two. So if I say equals 6, there's now a possibility that it's not less than 3, it's not 3 between 3 and 5, and it's not 6. If it's greater than 6, I'll then get to here. So if we run this and go down here, we've got a 7 here, which is greater than 6, but it says the word here. So it says here, if it's less than 3, if it's between 3 and 5, or equals 6, do these 3. Otherwise, if FT date is greater than the 1st of Jan 2018. So if we go to this number 7 here, it's not, it's 2017. And if we go to this 9 here, it's not, it's 2018. So right now we are seeing here, because it's not greater than the 1st of Jan. We have this one. So it's not less than 3, it's not between 3 and 5, it's not 6, but the date is after the 1st of January 2019. So it returns the word date. So it logically goes through each of these steps in turn, and it gets to the end there. Now, what's very cool about the case statements and about most things in SQL, whatever you can write in this bit here, you can put in your conditions. So I'm going to copy this case statement here, and I'm going to put where, and I'm going to paste it in. Now, immediately, SQL won't like this. So in your conditions have got to be something that can be either true or false, some sort of comparator. So here, this case statement is just returning data. So we need to make it some sort of sum. So we can say, if the result of my case statement equals, and then we can add any of these 5 options here that we've put as any of the results. So if my case statement equals small, sorry, my where statement says, so only show me anything where the result of the case statement equals small. If I press execute, now we're only seeing small. And if I change that to be date, now we're only seeing date. Those things that are greater than 6, where the date is greater than the 1st of January 2019. And if I change that to be here, we should be seeing those that fall into the last category, greater than 6, but the year is before the 1st of January 2019. Hopefully that was informative. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it made sense. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments. But otherwise, thanks for your time. Have a good day.